They don't understand what's happening, Mira Chen said, monitoring the communication intercepts. Her fingers moved rapidly across holographic displays, tracking the virus's progression. The human-designed quantum virus worked unlike any previous technological weapon. It didn't destroy systems, it confused them. Each computational node became increasingly uncertain, unable to predict or respond to the next moment's potential input. Calarian ship commanders watched in growing panic as their supposedly perfect systems began to break down. Advanced weapons became unpredictable. Navigation calculations produced impossible results. Communication networks collapsed into incomprehensible noise. One by one, enormous Calarian vessels became isolated. Their interconnected network, once their greatest strength, now became their most significant vulnerability. The virus exploited every tiny connection, spreading faster than they could comprehend. Military strategists had designed the attack to be psychological as much as technological. The Calarians prided themselves on perfect logical systems. Now those systems were turning against them, producing results that defied all computational expectations. Smaller human strike teams began targeted interventions. With Calarian ships confused and disconnected, precise tactical strikes could now be executed with minimal risk. A Calarian battleship near the Orion sector suddenly found its main weapon systems redirected. Instead of targeting human settlements, the massive energy cannons began firing into empty space, creating spectacular but useless light shows. Another vessel's life support systems started cycling through random environmental conditions. Comfortable temperatures would suddenly drop to freezing, then spike to unbearable heat. Crew members became disoriented, unable to predict their next moment of survival. The human strategy was brilliantly simple: destroy nothing, but create complete uncertainty. Hyun Kim watched from the United Nations Strategic Center, her team monitoring every computational ripple. "We're not fighting their technology," she explained to military leaders. "We're challenging their entire understanding of technological interaction." Calarian communication transmissions became increasingly desperate. Their messages, once clinical and precise, now contained hints of confusion and fear. They were experiencing something completely outside their computational models: human unpredictability. J. Park understood this was more than a military engagement. This was a fundamental challenge to the Calarian understanding of technological superiority. "We're showing them that technology isn't just about perfect calculations," he told his crew. "It's about adaptation, creativity, unexpected solutions." Each human intervention was carefully measured. The goal wasn't total destruction, but demonstrating a fundamental truth: rigid systems could always be outmaneuvered by flexible thinking. Calarian fleet commanders tried traditional counterattack protocols. But each attempt only spread the virus further, creating more computational confusion. Small human strike teams moved strategically, exploiting the growing weakness in alien defensive networks. They weren't fighting with traditional weapons, but with something far more powerful: pure, adaptive human intelligence. The counterattack wasn't about killing. It was about proving a point. Humanity would not be categorized, controlled, or eliminated. As Calarian ships began surrendering, drifting helplessly through space, a new understanding emerged. The universe was far more complex than any single technological civilization could predict. Humanity had just demonstrated its most powerful weapon: the ability to think beyond established rules. The counterattack was complete. And it was unlike anything in galactic history. The last Calarian command ship drifted silently, its once gleaming hull now scarred and dim. Inside the central command chamber, surviving leaders watched their computational systems collapse, unable to comprehend what had happened. J. Park stood on the bridge of the quantum horizon, watching the surrendering alien vessel. The battle hadn't been won through traditional warfare, but through something far more profound: human adaptability. Hyun Kim's quantum virus had done more than disable Calarian technology. It had exposed a fundamental weakness in their entire civilization's approach to understanding intelligence. The Calarians had believed their computational logic was perfect. Humanity had just proven otherwise. Communication channels crackled. The Calarian representative's voice carried a tone unlike anything heard before: uncertainty. "We do not understand," the alien transmission admitted. "Your technological approach defies all predictive models." Humanity's response was simple. They had not sought destruction, but recognition. The virus had been a demonstration, not a weapon of total annihilation. Survivors from destroyed human colonies watched the proceedings with a mixture of hope and tension. Their losses had not been in vain. Each destroyed settlement had contributed to this moment of cosmic revelation. The Calarian collective's fundamental mistake had been viewing humanity as a predictable species. They had categorized humans based on historical technological progression, believing they could be controlled or eliminated. What they discovered instead was a species capable of radical, unpredictable innovation. Sujin Park, who had been instrumental in developing the quantum virus, explained it simply during a global broadcast. "We didn't fight their technology. We reimagined what technology could be." Global celebrations erupted. This wasn't just a military victory, but a philosophical triumph. Humanity had proven that adaptability, creativity, and unexpected thinking were more powerful than rigid computational logic. The surrendering Calarian ships began power-down sequences. Their communication networks, once impenetrable, now lay exposed and vulnerable. They had encountered something completely outside their understanding, a species that could transform challenges into opportunities. J. Park's final transmission to the Calarian command was deliberately simple. "Humanity chooses its own path." Those 6 words carried more weight than entire libraries of diplomatic communication. They represented a fundamental declaration of human potential. The Calarian survivors began to understand something profound. Their technological superiority meant nothing against a species capable of reimagining the very rules of technological engagement. Research teams would spend decades analyzing this encounter. How could a seemingly less advanced civilization defeat a technologically superior alien race? The answer lay not in weapons or computational power, but in human creativity. As Calarian ships powered down, preparing for potential negotiations or further interactions, a new chapter in galactic understanding began. Humanity was no longer just another species to be categorized or controlled. They were a force of unexpected potential. The universe had just been reminded that predictability was the enemy of true innovation. And humanity had just written its first truly cosmic story. The massive starship drifted silently against the infinite darkness of space, its sleek metallic hull reflecting pinpricks of distant starlight. Inside the command bridge of the UN exploratory vessel Quantum Horizon, Captain J. Park stood motionless, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing an approaching alien vessel. The ship was unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Its design defied conventional understanding, a complex geometric structure that seemed to shift and breathe with an almost organic quality. Sensors indicated unprecedented technological complexity, far beyond current human capabilities. "Status report," Jay called out, his voice calm and steady. Lieutenant Mira Chen, the ship's lead communications specialist, responded quickly. "Unknown vessel maintaining constant trajectory. No aggressive movements detected, but they're definitely tracking us." Jay nodded, his military training keeping his composure intact. The Quantum Horizon represented humanity's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. Equipped with experimental quantum communication systems and cutting-edge defensive technologies, it was humanity's best hope for peaceful first contact. Suddenly, the communication panel flickered. An unusual frequency began translating through the ship's advanced linguistic algorithms. The voice was mechanical yet somehow carried an undertone of condescension. "Human vessel. We are the Calarian Collective. Your exploration has been noted." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. First contact scenarios had been extensively simulated, but nothing truly prepared anyone for the real moment. Jay stepped forward, activating the communication channel. "This is Captain J. Park of the United Nations Exploratory Fleet. We come in peace and seek mutual understanding." The alien response was immediate and unexpected. "Mutual understanding is impossible. Your species represents an unpredictable variable in galactic stability. We offer two choices, submission or elimination. The bridge fell silent. Every crew member understood the weight of this moment. Humanity's entire future might depend on the next few minutes of interaction. Myra's fingers danced across her communication panel, analyzing the linguistic and technological signatures of the transmission. Something felt off about the alien communication, a rigidity that suggested more complex underlying motivations. "They're testing us," she whispered to Jay, just loud enough for him to hear. The alien vessel began to rotate, its geometric shapes realigning in a display of technological prowess. Massive energy signatures started building around its outer hull, suggesting potential weapon systems powering up. Jay knew humanity had spent decades preparing for potential extraterrestrial encounters. Their exploration missions had been careful, calculated, designed to minimize potential conflicts. But nothing in those preparations had truly anticipated this moment. "We do not seek conflict," Jay responded, keeping his tone neutral. "We are an exploratory mission dedicated to peaceful discovery." The Calarian response was chilling in its simplicity. Peaceful discovery is not your species' historical pattern. Your technological progression suggests potential future threat. Military protocols raced through Jay's mind. Defensive maneuvers, potential escape routes, combat readiness, all were being simultaneously evaluated by the ship's advanced AI systems. Lieutenant Chen's panel suddenly displayed complex mathematical sequences. The Calarians were transmitting something beyond a simple communication. It looked like a complex computational challenge, almost like a test. "They want us to prove something," Mira muttered, her fingers already working to decode the transmission. The alien vessel maintained its position, energy signatures fluctuating in what seemed like a calculated display of technological superiority. Its very presence suggested overwhelming power, a clear message of potential destruction. Jay understood this was more than a simple first contact scenario. This was a moment that would define humanity's future in the cosmic landscape. One wrong move could mean extinction, yet surrender was equally unacceptable. "Prepare all systems," he commanded softly. "But do not show aggression. We respond with intelligence, not fear." The bridge crew tensed, watching the alien vessel, waiting for the next move in this high-stakes cosmic chess game. Humanity's first true test among the stars had begun. The silence following the first contact was short-lived. Within weeks, 3 human outer rim colonies vanished from communication networks. Initial reports suggested technical failures, but Captain J. Park knew better. The Calarian Collective had launched their first strike. Colony Delta 9, located on a small rocky planet near the Orion sector, was the first confirmed destruction. Satellite images showed nothing but scattered debris and radioactive dust where 50,000 human settlers once lived. No survivors, no warning, just complete annihilation. Han Kim, a 38-year-old xenostrategist working from the United Nations Strategic Research Center, began analyzing the attack patterns. Her computer screens filled with complex data streams, fragments of weapon signatures, and residual energy readings. "This isn't random," she muttered, tracing intricate computational models. Her team watched silently as she worked, understanding that her analysis could mean the difference between human survival and extinction. The second colony, Epsilon Station, suffered a similar fate. Located in a distant asteroid belt, the research outpost simply ceased to exist. Advanced scanning technologies detected no trace of the facility or its 10,000 inhabitants. Military leadership demanded immediate retaliation. Warships were prepared, weapons systems charged. But Hyun knew that a direct confrontation would be suicide. The Calarian technological superiority was overwhelming. "They're testing our responses," Hyun explained during an emergency briefing. "Each attack is a calculated probe, designed to measure our reaction capabilities." Her team had discovered something peculiar in the weapon signatures. Despite their apparent technological superiority, the Calarian weapons showed subtle inconsistencies. Small computational gaps that suggested their supposedly perfect technology might have unexpected vulnerabilities. The third colony, Gamma Research Outpost, provided the most critical data. Unlike previous attacks, this destruction left behind microscopic technological fragments. These tiny pieces became the key to understanding the Calarian approach. Hyun worked tirelessly, analyzing every microscopic detail. Her team developed advanced algorithms to decode the alien technology. They discovered that the Calarian computational systems, while advanced, followed extremely rigid logical patterns. They lack adaptability, Hyun realized. Their technology is powerful but predictable. Military strategists initially dismissed her findings. How could human technology possibly compete with an alien civilization centuries ahead in development? But Hyun's evidence was compelling. The Calarian attacks were not just about destruction. They were systematic tests, measuring human technological and psychological responses. Each colony's destruction provided them more data about human capabilities. Captain J. Park understood the strategic implications. The Calarian Collective wasn't simply attempting to eliminate humanity. They were conducting a complex assessment, determining whether humans represented a potential future threat. "We're being studied," Jay told his senior officers. "Like lab specimens." Hyun's research team worked around the clock. They developed a radical theory: the Calarians' perceived technological superiority might be their greatest weakness. Their reliance on perfect computational logic made them vulnerable to unpredictable, nonlinear human thinking. Global human leadership faced an impossible decision. Traditional military responses would result in total destruction. Surrender meant complete subjugation. A third option was needed, something unexpected. Hyun proposed a radical strategy. Instead of direct confrontation, they would develop a response that completely defied the Calarians' computational expectations. A solution that would challenge their understanding of human potential. "We won't fight them with their rules," she explained. "We'll create our own." As research continued, humanity prepared. Not with traditional weapons, but with something far more powerful, adaptable, creative intelligence that could break every computational rule the Calarians understood. The challenge had been issued. The Calarian Collective believed they were conducting a systematic elimination. They didn't realize they were awakening something far more dangerous. Humanity's true potential. The real war was about to begin. The research facility buzzed with nervous energy. Sujin Park stood at the center of a small team of engineers, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that mapped the intricate weaknesses in Calarian technological infrastructure. Weeks of intense analysis had revealed something extraordinary. The alien computational systems, while seemingly perfect, possessed a critical flaw. Their logical networks were so rigidly structured that they couldn't process truly unpredictable input. "It's like they're playing chess," Sujin explained to her team, "but we're going to introduce a completely different game." The key was a quantum adaptive virus. Unlike traditional computer viruses, this would be a living, evolving piece of code that could reshape itself in real time. It would exploit the tiny computational gaps Hyun Kim had discovered in her earlier research. Each team member worked on a specific component. Minimal communication, maximum efficiency. They understood the stakes. Humanity's survival depended on this breakthrough. Young tech specialist Minho developed the initial penetration algorithm. It was designed to look like a simple data packet, something so ordinary that the Calarian systems would automatically process it without deep inspection. "They filter everything through logic," Minho said. "But we'll give them pure chaos." The virus had multiple layers. Its first stage would appear completely harmless, mimicking standard communication protocols. Once inside the Calarian network, it would begin to adapt, learn, and spread in ways no predictive algorithm could anticipate. Sujin's hands moved with surgical precision. She integrated quantum entanglement principles into the virus's core structure. This meant each fragment could potentially exist in multiple states simultaneously, a concept that would completely break the Calarian computational understanding. Military advisors watched the development with a mixture of hope and skepticism. Traditional weapons had proven useless against the Calarian technology. This was humanity's last potential strategy. Testing occurred in isolated quantum simulation chambers. Initial results were promising. The adaptive virus could penetrate multiple layers of alien defense systems, leaving no traceable pathway. "We're not just creating a weapon," Sujin told her team. "We're creating a new form of technological communication." The final version of the virus was small, barely a few kilobytes in size. But its potential was universe-changing. It could potentially disrupt entire alien communication networks, creating confusion and vulnerability. Military strategists developed simultaneous attack protocols. The virus would be deployed across multiple Calarian communication nodes, creating a cascade of computational disruption. Weeks of preparation culminated in a single moment. The virus was ready. "Activation sequence initiated," Minho announced, his voice steady but filled with tension. The first Calarian communication network infected showed no immediate signs of disruption. But deep within its computational core, something was changing. The virus began its silent, invisible work. Sujin watched holographic displays, tracking the virus's progression. It moved like liquid through rigid computational structures, finding and exploiting every tiny weakness. "They won't even know we're inside," she whispered. The true brilliance of their approach was its subtlety. This wasn't a direct attack, but a complete reimagining of technological interaction. Humanity was introducing a new form of computational thinking that the Calarians couldn't comprehend. In research facilities around the world, teams waited. The next few hours would determine everything. The Calarian collective, with all its perceived technological superiority, was about to encounter something it had never anticipated: true, unpredictable human innovation. The first signs of disruption appeared quietly. Calarian communication networks began experiencing unexplained glitches, tiny interruptions that seemed insignificant at first, but quickly spread like a digital infection. Captain J. Park watched from the Quantum Horizons bridge as reports came in. Massive Calarian ships started losing synchronization. Navigation systems flickered. Complex weapon networks began to fragment.